honored that I am blessed to be here in this moment with you all. You know, it's been a trying year, I think, for a lot of us, and I think what's gotten me through this year, most importantly, has been the women in my life, particularly my grandmother, who embodies the spirit of Assata, who embodies the spirit of Angela Davis, who embodies the spirit of all of these women that I've grown in community with. So I want to dedicate this performance and this night to her. Secondly, I want to dedicate this performance to all my gender warriors, all the women who had to struggle to fight to define themselves in the face of everybody trying to take their definitions from them. One, it took me years to discover my skin as cathedral unto itself. Spent so much time looking upon my flesh as sacrilege, picking rainbow shards of a stained glass heart, shattered into pieces. Always became confused when I held them up to the sun. They shone so beautiful, the way puzzle patterns of a kaleidoscope do, so radiant in their broken. Thought to be shattered was strange, yet familiar, damn near natural, until a woman with no name looked straight through me. I'll never forget her lips that were passages of Leviticus, her tongue swift. You ain't no woman, you's a nigga to me. You ain't no woman, you can't be. When she looked at me like some blasphemous anomaly that drew breath on God's mercy alone, I wanted to tell her how hard I've had to love my reflection until I could stand the sight of myself in my own eyes. She looked me up and down, tried to trace my body for some softness where there was none to be found. How could I tell her that on the surface it was safer to remain hard because my curves reminded me of curses? I knew from first glance that she would never understand the work it took to dig beautiful from the sag in my jeans. So with a calm that shot forth from my ovaries, the same calm that Jesus must have carried in his feet across the sea, I looked her in her eyes and said, I bleed too, just like you do. There is nothing that distinguishes the punishment of my fruit from yours outside of being bruised the way apples do when they land far from the tree. This woman continued to look at me like the very knowledge of my fruit would have Eve cast me from the Garden of Eden herself if she knew that I was her offspring, who since my exit from the womb has been fighting for room in God's house. This flesh is the gospel of women who brave to take their versions of dress up public, rocking their male cousins' clothes instead of their own, women whose hips spread around the same pace as the stubble on their chins. There is no sin here. Only a girl who's had to find salvation in the 2 or 3 hairs that sprout on her chest. Spent half my life fingering the jagged edges of my 4 chambers. I'm only now beginning to see the gorgeous art of bearing the cross of a heart that's had to reassemble itself back into wholeness. If looks could crucify, I'd have been nailed to the cross by crossed eyes more times than I've had chance to cry. Thank you.